Class, this is the video lesson for homework 7. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about exponents, but essentially highlighting what exponents represent and some of the rules and techniques where we have to be careful when we're using exponents. Exponents, by definition, are repeated multiplication. So it's a way of describing how to multiply over and over again. So 4 cubed, that's how we pronounce this one, is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. 5 with a 2, we call 5 squared, is 5 times 5, which is 25. Usually when the power is higher than that, something like 2 to the 4th, you'll hear us say 2 to the 4th, and that'll give us 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. When you're dealing with exponents, this number up in the exponent is called the exponent. The number that it's applied to is called the base. So if you hear the term base or exponent, that's what they're referring to. If there are parentheses, the rule is that what the exponent is being applied to is all of the expressions. So what we're going to repeat here is the -5. Down here where there aren't parentheses, then the exponent only applies to the 2. So this is 2 times 2 times 2. With a negative sign in front. So those are very different in terms of work. So on the test, you might be asked to actually explain what is the work that goes into your answer, not what is the final answer necessarily. So in this case, we get positive 25 and positive 25. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, 12. That's this part. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, 5. And we get 625. So that's the answer here. And 2 times 2 times 2, we just said that's 16, but in this case the negative is in front because that's the last thing we apply. So again, two similar problems, but one with parentheses and without. This says -3 times -3, which is positive 9. And this says 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 with a negative in front. 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 times 16 is 256. If you're wondering what's another way to see that, remember we can do 16. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 6 is 60. 6 times 10 and 6 times 6 is 36. And we add all those up to get 256. So that's another way to do really big multiplication. If you see where the exponent is negative, this is like repeated division. So this actually means 1/3 times 1/3 because we're going to divide by 3 twice, which is 1/9. This does not have to do with making the base negative. It has to do with doing that repeated division. So here where it's 2/3 to the -3, the negative tells me to flip it. And then the 3 tells me to then multiply it 3 times. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Again, the negative tells me to flip it. And the 4 tells me I have 4 of them. Remember, because it's in parentheses, the whole thing, including the negative sign, is repeated. This is 1/4 times 1/4, which is 1/16. Do another one here. The negative tells you to flip it. The 3 has you multiply it 3 times. And again, with the parentheses, the negative is going to be included in that. This is 16 over 25 times -4/5. Which is -64 over 125. And remember, we talked that negative sign could be out in front on the top or on the bottom, but you just need one of them. If you have any other questions about exponents, let me know. We will see exponents with more complicated expressions as we continue working on the next few sections.